Hello, and welcome to Flip the Coin Onto Its Edge. I am your host, Michael Papaw Newton. I've studied philosophy, classic and ancient mythology, spirituality, science, religions like Christianity, Judaism, Wicca, Kabbalah, Buddhism, and Taoism for over 20 years. Thanks for tuning in. Remember to leave all preconceived notions, opinions, and beliefs at the door. Open up. This is episode number 13. And today we're excited to explore how there's a challenger in the game of life. This opponent isn't here to take our soul, but to inspire us to work even better towards our goals in the game. Just a reminder, tap the button to follow this podcast. Now, into our show. Our opponent, Satan, does not manifest within the boss who aggravates us every day, or our opponent does not live within that guy who ripped us off in business, or the guy who broke into your car and stole your phone, or the people who backstab you behind your back at work or socially. Satan lives within us. It is us and all the people around us in our lives, even those who bring difficulty, though they are our teammates. Yes, our teammates in the game of life. But Satan has tricked us into playing against them, making us believe that they are opponents, focusing our efforts on trying to change others. He prevents us from realizing that we are all on the same team, that we are all interconnected as one soul on a deeper level of reality. Here's how he works. We learn that the nature of the soul is a desire to receive. The sole objective of Satan is to awaken and stimulate our desire to receive for oneself alone. Me, me, me. Greed, selfishness, self gratification, self indulgence, ego, no earning, reactive emotions, no sharing, under the control of external forces, being a slave to the desires of the body. In short, all the above can be summed up as reactive behavior. We need the Satan to help us become reactive in order to give us the opportunity to become proactive. This force gives us the opportunity to become proactive, to think and care about others, to rise above the desire of the body, to be in control of our own lives and behavior. The negative energy force called Satan is here to help us draw closer to proactive behavior, closer to the true nature of the light. We now have something tangible to transform. By engaging in the conscious act of transforming ourselves, we are learning how to behave like the light. We are earning all that we had in the endless. We are slowly becoming co-creators of the endless realm as we rekindle this concealed light and rebuild the proactive puzzle. Our goal, to become proactive. Satan's goal, to make us reactive. Our goal, to share light. Satan's goal, to make us receive light for oneself alone. Our goal, to learn how to think about others. Satan's goal, to make us think about ourselves. In short, the whole purpose of Satan is to challenge us, to trigger a reactive response within us. We can defeat Satan with one singular move: restriction. Restriction is the key to changing states. The key to transformation. What did the soul do in the endless to initially change its dependent state? The soul restricted the light from coming in directly. The soul shut down its reactive system. You see, there are two systems within us, the proactive system and the reactive system. The receiving intelligence of when we shut down the reactive system, only the proactive system is left. We are now proactive in that moment. We're shut down. The light is also proactive. Thus, we achieve the oneness. There is now a resonance between light and soul, like two tuning forks vibrating as one. Because of this resonance, the fulfillment that is the light now transfers to you. You receive lasting light in that moment. Whenever we restrict the reactive nature of the body, we change from reactors into engagement with the light. Shutting down the reactive system is the most important of all tools in the entire game of life. The lever that we pull to shut down the reactive system is restriction. Now, when we do shut down our reactive system, what happens to all those obstacles that triggered our reactive behavior? Two things. The solution will immediately come to you, the light comes in, or the obstacle vanishes. Rule number 4 in the game of life: when obstacles confront you, restrict, shut down your reactive system. The quality of an opponent is very important. Consider baseball. If a person wanted to develop and express their talent and skills for playing baseball to the maximum, would he want to play against 10-year-old kids or against talented adults? If we want to become true proactive beings, people who are in full control of their lives and souls, we need an opponent who is the exact opposite, the ultimate reactive force of greed and robotic short term behavior. An opponent who has no regard for the soul, an opponent whose only purpose is to stir the reactive intelligence of the body and challenge us every step of the way. The game of life is extremely serious. The tests and challenges we must face are formidable, hovering on the edge of life and death, war and peace, pleasure and pain. Once we pull our internal restriction lever in order to stop our reactive behavior, what's next? We must always deal with our problems. That's why we're here. But we must deal with them in a proactive way, from a consciousness of light and not darkness. Consider this following story. A man that we'll call Bob is having a terrible day. You see, Bob is basically a good guy, but today at work, he is hopping mad. A lucrative deal that he's been working on for 6 months was suddenly lost because of something stupid that one of his assistants did. The president of the firm blames Bob and comes down hard on him. Bob is fuming. On the way home, he gets pulled over by a police officer. Bob gets his ticket for speeding. When Bob pulls up to his house, all the garbage cans that should have been returned to the garage are still sitting on the driveway. Bob smashes into them. Garbage and debris fly across his front lawn and driveway. As he storms into the house, he slips and nearly breaks his neck, tripping over a roller skate lying carelessly on the walkway. Bob enters the house. He's expecting his family to be happily waiting for him. He wants a nice hot meal to help calm his nerves. Instead, his wife is lying on the couch with a migraine headache, and his 5-year-old boy is splattering ink all over the freshly painted walls with non erasable markers. Worse, Bob had hired very expensive painters to paint those walls with the intention of using the money he should have gotten from that big deal that he just lost today. Bob sees the kid. The boy has already been warned many times over not to write on the walls. Bob goes over to him, his frustration and anger building up inside. He starts screaming at the boy. He gives him a spanking on the behind, all his aggravation pouring out of him. Finally, the kid runs crying and screaming into his room. Now, scenario number 2. Bob has just heard this podcast on reactive behavior. The next morning, he goes to work. A big deal was suddenly lost because of something stupid that one of his assistants did. On the way home, Bob gets a ticket. He smashes into the garbage cans, and then he slips as he goes into the house. His wife is lying on the couch with a migraine, and his 5-year-old boy is splattering ink all over the walls in the den. Bob goes over to the kid, all his frustration and anger building up inside of him. Then Bob remembers his podcast and decides to try it in his everyday life, to know the laws of life. Ah, he says to himself, an opportunity to become proactive, to behave like the light. Bob recognizes his reactive behavior. He pulls the restriction lever and shuts down his reactive system. In other words, he stops his immediate reaction. Now there is space. Bob changes from being reactive to proactive. He has achieved a oneness with the light. He has changed from being a reactor to a creator. A resonance is created, and the light fills that space. The light flows into Bob, and he realizes that out of love for his child, he must discipline him for this wrongful behavior. He then purposely raises his voice in a strict, firm, but controlled tone. He reprimands the boy. He then gives him a gentle tap on his behind and sends him into his room. 2 exact situations, same actions on the part of Bob. However, in which situation will the kid feel more love and respect for his father? You see, being proactive does not mean that you now have to stop and restrict yourself from all of your regular acts of behavior and action. It means to carry them out in a proactive, sharing way. In the first case with Bob, it was the Satan who smacked the boy. In the second case, it was the light. Bob was merely the channel, the conduit. We either let Satan do it or the light do it. Reactive, proactive. Confront all your challenges. Deal with all your situations, opportunities, and problems that stare you down each day of your life. But don't be reactive. Hold the restriction lever and shut down your reactive system. Then ask the light for what you really need, proactive, and not for what you really want, react. Always know, always remember that the light has the answers and solutions that are right for you. The light will then manifest the right thoughts in your mind, into your mind, that will guide you through the next few critical steps. Sometimes you will carry out the same actions, but with a consciousness of light. Other times you will be directed into a complete opposite direction, In either case, it's under the protective and guiding energy shield of the light. That's all we have time for. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode. Today, we enjoyed a heartfelt and insightful discussion about Satan, our challenge in the game of life. This energy can either hold us back or inspire us to seek the light. So it's interesting to wonder, why do people who act reactively all day long sometimes achieve great success? And why do bad things happen to good people? These are two very good questions. We'll explore the answers in the upcoming episodes of our podcast. I advise you not to believe anything you hear in this podcast. Test it out in your life. It has to work for you. Believing means there is already an element of doubt. The secret to success is to know the laws of life, not to believe in them. When you test these laws and principles, you will come to know. For your own benefit, make room for compelling new ideas. This will allow you to understand and evaluate the teachings more effectively. Quick reminder, click the button to follow this podcast. And remember, God woke you up this morning for a reason. Now go out and find out why.